In today's video, I'm going to share the exact routine Peterbot followed to become the best player that has ever touched the game. And I'm also going to go over why every single one of these ways of practice are super important. With that being said, let's begin. Throughout Peter's career, he has played a fair share of callbacks. A lot of people think he has never played aim trainer since there has been movement in which he hasn't played it consistently. To practice this stream, for example, he has then said that he doesn't aim train. He also baited hard on Twitter, saying he has never played callbacks, but this isn't true. Here's the thing, and nobody understands about grinding aim train. And this is worth it for everyone to listen to. Even if you're a controller player, if you play in the aim trainer or even a creative map where you get an insane amount of reps of aiming, like 200 palm, FFA, aim duel, whatever, you might only improve your aim 0.5% in a single day from that pack. But if you stick with the name routine for a longer period, the improvement compounds over the span of months, not weeks, and you'll be a completely different player compared to when you started. If you let time do its thing, if you play callbacks every day and improve, for example 0.5% aim wise daily, you'll be at 16% better aimer after 1 month. You basically won't even notice the difference. But if you maintain that rate of improvement over a year, you'll be 517% better, or a little over 6 times better as an aimer. This is because improvement compounds, especially in Fortnite. The main aspect aim trainers improve is error reduction. Not hitting only max damage bomb like most of people for some reason believe. You also develop your brain in the correct way when aim training daily, since you'll be able to shoot better and it will feel way more natural. You'll be way more confident, and confidence creates an incredible amount of positive feedback loop. And maybe most importantly, aiming will feel way more and more effortless the more you practice your aim, which makes important fight and endgame feel so much easier. The big issue that almost everyone has that are starting an aim routine is that they go way too hard to begin with. They figure out the importance of aim training and say, now I'm gonna go grind 90 minutes of aim every single time for the next 3 months, and then I can see how good I become. This is not the right approach. Your goal has to be that your isolated aim training feels effortless and very easy every single day. I like the approach of hopping into callbacks or aim lab, setting a timer for literally 20 minutes and playing a routine I believe in, and then the millisecond my alarm rings, I don't play another minute of aim training. 20 minutes is 100 times better than 0 minutes. Long term, 20 minutes is more than enough to see great results, especially if you'll be able to do it around 1 year completely consistently. In the description of today's video, I'll be dropping one routine. I believe it to be Peter's routine, but unfortunately I wasn't able to 100% verify this, but regardless, the routine is really solid. One last thing before we move on, do not at all focus on scores when playing callback. Scores do not matter at all for Fortnite improvement. Getting good scores and callbacks is almost always done by having an insanely low sensitivity that isn't realistic for Fortnite at all. Playing for score does a little to nothing for you for that aim, and if you decided to play this way, you'll basically be wasting all your time. Do not care about your score. Do your best, and whatever you end up on the leaderboard, don't even give a second of thought to it. Most players above you on the leaderboard are playing for scores, but you're the real winner. Anyways, since you actually improve faster than almost anyone by playing on your actual Fortnite hipfire sensitivity, and you have the last laugh when you start earning consistently in tournament, and those players get nowhere. Real quick, if we hit 500 users on my code MIRIDAGOLD, I'll make a special video where I review 5 different viewers, considering putting in the code. We're now at 0, hopefully we can go up to 500. Thank you so much for that. Let's get back. So next thing Peter has always had on his routine is playing build fight 1v1 against good players. Build fight 1v1 are really good when you play against someone who is at high level. but they're extremely bad if you're playing against someone who's at low level. If you want to become a truly insane player, it's crucial that you try to push yourself in everything you play and meet the highest quality competition possible. Think about it like this. If you go to the gym and want to bench press 120 kg, you need to slowly but surely build your way up there to make it. You might start benching 400 kilo, and then you move up to 45 a week later, then 50, and then one day after months, if not years of consistency, you can all of a sudden bench 120. It's the exact same with developing your Fortnite abilities. You want to always play against someone who's better than you and generally pushes you quite a bit, because if you play against your friend Turtle Ninja 67 forever, that's like always benching 40 kg and never pushing yourself to do even 45, 50, 55 and so. And when you need to perform in a tournament and you all of a sudden need to compete against people who on autopilot can easily bench 120 kg, you will of course fail. Since you never practice slowly but surely pushing yourself up to rank, you won't even stand a chance at lifting the weight because your practice was completely ineffective in the context of your goal. Build fights are a great way to practice clean and consistent mechanics and punishing mistakes quickly when the enemy makes them. When playing against someone who's good at build fights, you also find so many ways of taking high that are unique, since good build fighters players are very hard to take high on, especially if you only know the basic high ground retake principle, since they have seen those moves 100 times before. And because of that, you won't be able to take high and you'll be forced to think outside of the box. Peter does not spend a lot of his day playing build fights, but he typically likes to do them to warm up his hands and mechanics, and also get some decent fight practice when playing against other players who are at a higher level. The third thing is Peter's routine is playing zone wars, typically 2v2s or 3v3s. These zone wars are more so dedicated fighting practice than the build fights, as those, as mentioned, are often used for warm-upping. Zone wars is an amazing way to become a better fighter, but you absolutely have to focus on the 5 aspects that are very crucial to master in real games too. Mass awareness, zone awareness, opponent awareness, especially in 2v2, opportunity awareness, that means punishing the first mistake an enemy makes, and lastly timing awareness, knowing when to act, like when to force out a mistake in an enemy and when to let the opponent make a mistake while being patient. One of the most underrated skills in all of competitive. In zone wars especially, it's extremely important that you play against as good players as you possibly can, because what often happens in zone wars if you play against low tier players is that you build a ton of bad habits that are very hard to get rid of. What I'm talking about here is players that haven't played a lot of competitive, that are obviously quite easy to win against, and players who don't punish the mistakes you make. You absolutely need to do your best to find those players that punish you when you mess up. This is something Peter has always been very good at. Day and night fighting the other best players in the region, and since he's played against almost everyone, he also played basically every playstyle you can think of. He can punish players who are aimers, mechanics demon, smart players, you name it. And mastering these, beating anyone regardless of playstyle and strengths, should also be your goal if you want to become truly exceptional. The fourth thing Peter has often had in his routine is playing ranked. Now, a lot of people heavily overestimate the power of ranked. In ranked, you typically play against opponents who aren't at an objectively high level. The average ranked player you play against, if you're in Unreal, has a few hundred PR going, plays competitive on. Average ranked player you play against, if you're in Unreal, has a few hundred PR points, plays competitive on and off, and finding these kind of players definitely won't be anywhere near good fighting practice as playing against someone who's actually really good in zone wars, build fights, or realistic. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you can't become an amazing fighter and player from ranked, why even bother playing it, you might say. Ranked is literally the best way to develop better habits because of the fact that your opponents aren't at a super high level. Let me give you an example that will be beneficial to most of you. When you fight, the mentality you want is the following. Your number one priority always should be to maintain 100% awareness of your enemy. Not 70%, not 80%, but 100% that comes first. No question asked, because if you don't have 100% awareness, you won't be able to punish every mistake the enemy makes. Finishing fights will of course take way longer, and you also take a lot of damage. And if this isn't your first priority, you have a build of flawed fighting playstyle and mindset, and unfortunately kept out at not a so high level. The second priority is mechanical consistency. Let's say you're insane mechanically. You already have the consistency and speed to say it at least, but you still don't succeed. Then going into ranked and focusing on maintaining total awareness of your opponent is an amazing way to improve super fast. Now in the beginning, you might find out that you speedy and consistent mechanics aren't that speedy or consistent anymore, since your brain is focusing on awareness first. And this is a great sign that you're about to improve faster than ever, because playing in a way that generally challenge you is at least to inhumanly fast improvement, and fast consistent mechanics are worthless if you can't maintain awareness of the guy you're fighting, since without awareness you miss so many opportunities a slower and more precise player one. Adapting a new playstyle around a skill you haven't yet mastered it take at least a few ones. So if you know that your awareness is bad but your mechanics definitely aren't, I recommend spending enough time in rank to the point where the fight feels easy. In the beginning they feel awkward, you won't be able to finish them as fast as you like, and you often notice that the mechanical moves required in fights when you maintain complete awareness are quite different to the moves you need in a fight where you haven't focused on awareness. The clue here is that if you want to make ranked highly effective, you need to have a specific goal in the games you play. Don't just hop into rank because Peter has hidden in his routine. Focus on actually fixing your flaw, going with the mindset that you're going to focus on awareness first, finishing fight as quickly as possible, and you're going to inhumanly consistent mechanics. Playing ranked on a full autopilot is one of the worst things you can do for the improvement, since you won't be able to challenge yourself whatsoever. Moving on to the single most important thing Peterbot in his routine, we have playing customs against good players. Me saying that this is the most important thing doesn't mean the other things aren't important, but without this he would never be close to where he ended up. It's a mix of everything I'm going over in today's video that made him the player he is. Only playing custom against good player wouldn't make him the best, and the same is true for creative, rank, and of course aim training. Again, here when it comes to playing custom against good players, it's very much the same as what we talked about during the build fight segment. A lot of players never accomplish their competitive goal because the customs they play are against players that aren't even better than them. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to go pro and you're from you like me, and you see the practice options we have. The first server that is open to anyone is called Nobles Open. This is a server with zone rules and players that are more or less brand new to compete. The cool thing is that when you played 150 minutes of Nobles Open, which is about 8 games or so, you can already rank up and join Noble Division 0. This practice is probably around 10 to 15% better than Noble Open, but then you grind Noble Division 0 and get top 3 twice and secure an invite to Noble Division 3. Here the practice is 25% better than in Noble Division 0, and you already secured practice that is around 40% better than when you started, and it is totally realistic to do in a single week. But then you see, after the Division 3 you have Division 2, a server you can get into from simply getting first place 2 times in Noble Division 3 or getting top 2.5 on the EU PR leaderboard. This server is where practice starts getting somewhat good, but it's crucial that you aim to get into Division 24/7 after getting into Noble Division 2, because a lot of people stop grinding for better practice when they get into Division 2. Even though it's nowhere near good enough to become a pro player, Noble 24/7 around 3 times better practice than Division 2. What that means is that 10 games in 24/7 will be the same amount of improvement as 30 games in Noble Division 2. So you should actually be stressed about getting into Noble 24/7 if your goal is going pro. And this is something Peter as well understood super early on in his career. Playing against the best players in your region consistently in custom is crucial. If you want to consistently place in tournament and make good money from the game, the final thing Peter has always surprisingly been good at is getting help from coaches. Even though it's nowhere near as good to become a pro player, Noble 24/7 is probably around 3 times better practice than Division 2. What that means is that 10 games in 24/7 will yield the same amount of improvement as 30 games in Noble Division 2. So you should actually be stressed about getting into Noble 24/7 if your goal is going pro. And this is something Peter has well understood super early on in his career. Playing against the other best players in your region consistently in custom is crucial if you want to consistently place in tournament and make good money from the game. The final thing Peter has always surprisingly been good at is getting help from coaches. Getting help if you have the opportunity to make this game so much easier. A coach can fix the drop map for you and off-spawn looting and farming paths, tell you when it's smart to rotate to where, how efficiently play and how efficiently play endgames, and so much more. The game literally becomes a few times easier when you have a coach. If you don't want to spend money on coach, just getting your friend who's a bit better than you or review your games is a great way to improve. Don't be scared to tell him that it's okay for him to give you as much criticism as he can. You can actually learn a lot, especially if you're lucky enough to have some good friends with some earnings and good PR. Guys, that's it. Peter's entire routine. So with that being said, go like the video, subscribe, make sure to check out all my socials. It will be linked in the description. Everything, Discord, everything, IG, Twitter, everything. Let me know in the comment what should I do next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.